Now we want to add one more layer to this animation. We don't want the house to build up from the ground. That's too boring. We want the house to be building up or pop into the screen as if it's a character. We want to give some life to this house as well. So we want the house to kind of pop into the frame, like jumping and then land it on the ground. So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to group all these house layers into one pre-comp and then animate that pre-comp so that we have an extra layer of control to this house animation. Let me just select all the layers here, all the house layers. And I can toggle on and off this icon to make sure that I've selected all the layers of the house. And then I can pre-comp it. Command Option C, pre-comp. Call it house pre-comp. Okay. Now we have this pre-comp and all the house animations within this pre-comp. So if we look at the project panel here, we already have all these pre-comp that we created before. So we don't want to clutter this project panel or to make it messy. So just make sure we can just put all of these new pre-comps into the pre-comp folder that we created so that everything is organized in the project panel. And if we want to find our pre-comp, we can just toggle down this pre-comp folder and then see our pre-comps here. So first of all, what we need to do is I still want to use that scale keyframe that we used in the previous video to make the house just kind of pop up from 0 to 100%, so that I want to use this keyframe here, going to the pre-comp, and then Command C, copy those 3 keyframes, go back to the main comp, and then go back to the 0-second mark, paste onto our house comp. So let's preview the animation. So something is wrong here because we paste in the scale keyframe, but the problem is the house is animating from this anchor point in the center. So when the house is over 100%, around 110% in the keyframe over here, it's actually intersecting with our ground. So that's not going to work. What I need to do is I need to move this anchor point to the bottom of the house so that it's actually scaling up from that point. So I need to delete this keyframes and then click on this anchor point tool, move it to the bottom of the house here, and then paste the scale property keyframes. Now you can see everything is starting because this is the starting point of my animation. So I want the anchor point to be right here so that everything is grounded. Now I want to add some rotation and then position change of the house as if it's popping into the screen and then land on the ground. So we're gonna click this arrow here. One thing we need to keep in mind is that in most of the times we animate backward because at the end of the animation, the rotation value is always 0, and then the position value is always whatever it was before you animated it. So these values should be my final values when the house landed on the ground. But what I need to do is for the position value, I don't want to change the X value because I don't want to move the house like to the left, to the right. It's going to be messy. I just want to move it up and down so that I'm going to right click on positions, separate dimensions, so that I only control the Y position of the house instead of both X and Y position. I'm going to click on the stopwatch to delete the keyframes on the X position. Now we have 3 properties that we need to animate: the rotation, Y position, and scale. Since scale, we already have the value, so we don't need to worry about it. For the Y position, we want the house, when it's popping into the frame, we want the house to be higher. We want it to be like this high. And then at this point, I also want the house to kind of rotate that way. And then when it lands on the ground, almost there, I want the house to overshoot a little bit. Remember the animation principle that we had? Overshoot before the object scaled to 100%, it needs to go over a little bit to 110% and then comes back down. So this, in this case, for rotation, we have, so the rotation is going to be 14 degrees, and then it goes over a negative 2.5 degrees and then comes back at 0. So I want to preview this. It looks fine, but I feel like the Y position is not high enough. So I need to make the Y position higher. And let's preview that. So the house just pop on. Another thing is we also want to stagger these keyframes because we don't want the animation to be happening at the same time. So I want to stagger these animation. Maybe when it pops up, it's rotation change, and then it hangs there in the air, and then boom, comes down. I want this maybe rotation. But I don't want the house to intersect with the ground. So I need, when it lands on the ground, these two needs to be at the same time. So pop up. And now my problem is the house is popping up, but then I don't see the house anymore. Some of the part is cut off. So I want this to be animating slower. Just kind of adjusting the keyframes to make it look natural. And I need to select all these linear keyframes and then right-click Keyframe Assistant, go to Easy Ease. First of all, I want to adjust the position. Go to the graph editor and then click on this Fit All Graphs to View. So I want the house to hang in the air longer, so slowing down, and then hit the ground harder, as if there's gravity taking effect. So I want this slope, instead of just slowly easing into the position, I want the slope to be kind of like suddenly, all of a sudden, reach the endpoint. So it's slowing down and then faster, faster, faster. It settles into place. And then go back to my keyframe view. The rotation, I want to still have some rotation at this point, and then when it hit the ground, I need it to be, the rotation to be 0 so that it doesn't intersect with the ground. Let's see how it looks now. It definitely has more energy than before. I think the Y position is a little high, so I want to move it down a little bit. Maybe move it like right here. And then maybe it's too fast here. It's too jarring, so I need to slow down the landing here. But now it doesn't have enough hang time. I still want it to hang in there. So let me move the Y position. I want the house to hang in the air. So when it's already built up, I want it to kind of hang in the air. And then fall down. So in this case, I need to align this rotation value with my Y position so that when it lands, everything is solid. So it's up, and then hang in the air. I want the value. So the value, so it's moving, hanging. Yep, got it. So that's a house animation. Just kind of pop into the air, hang there, and then fall down, faster, rotation, overshoot, and then land. That's good. Okay, we're gonna stop there. So that's the house landing animation.